Hi everyone, welcome back to A Sky Full of Stars, Divergence Route A, Episode 2, where it's time for Hikari to move with her father overseas. And that's why they're going to hold a farewell party for her. So anyways, Akito now has a place to live after the first light event, and it's all thanks to the mother of Miharu. And I think the mother really appreciates all the work that he's been doing, helping her, and she wants to reward him somehow. And Hikari was helping Akito move his belongings from his other place, the astronomy club room of Hoshindaichi, but it was more like it was a chance for Hikari to find that letter and take it back from Akito, and she was successful. So either way, we won't be able to see what's in that letter. And thanks to Miharu, Hikari got away. So that's not past, and let's see how the farewell party goes for everyone. Okay, so I've been working hard at my job since that morning. And once again, Saya is looking at Akito all upset. So Saya keeps glaring at me from the cafe corner of the convenience store as I worked. And I took out my phone. So, come on, can you forgive me? So I read the message I sent, but no. So she spun around to face out the window and zipped her coffee. Come on, what's the big deal anyways? All I did was exchange messages with an office lady in the city. Was it really hard for a young guy from the countryside to indulge in a fantasy? Well, it's not like we had some kind of indecent relationship or something. So come on, just let us through. So as Saya saw that picture, she probably never speak to me again. Well, it didn't matter whose cleavage it was. It could be some office lady, Hikari, or maybe Hikari's dad's, for that matter. Will she ignore any explanation I gave? So Saya saw somebody outside and gave a little wave. So why is Hikari here? So Saya was always so polite. She's been sitting there, drinking her coffee for the last 30 minutes. And she really was a nice girl. Though that was probably just because it let her sit there and kill time by giving me that stink eye for so long. Oh, so hello, welcome to the stopping by. Come on, we're closer than that. I'm not just some random customer. I was still mad at her for stealing that letter the other day. And sensing my mood, she came over and whispered in my ear. Oh, come on. Well, at least I gave you something. What? Hey, that was not what happened. So Hikari was enjoying herself too much as she picked up a bottle of mineral water and a rice ball. So if you're gonna treat me as a customer, then I'll be a customer. So that would be 534 yen. So I took her money and handed her the change.
さあや半分こしよう。お昼食べられなくなっちゃうよ。平気平気。豚まんは別腹だから。
Well, I guess Hikari hadn't eaten breakfast that morning. So Hikari and Sai had plans to go hang out in the harbor town. And they were both excited about having a girls' date. And the farewell party comes after that.
早乙女の豚まんもこれが食べ納めかも。寂しいな。帰ってきたらまた食べに来ればいいじゃない。
But then again, you can enjoy it once you return,
おっちゃんが引退してなきゃいいけど。
as long as the old man does not retire. So the store's owner husband was the one who made the pork buns. And he worked at a factory down near the ocean. Making pork buns was just a hobby of his. So he was getting old, and was thinking about retiring. And there was no telling when the stop and buy famous pork buns would no longer be around. Well, I think it's more like he will retire from that factory job, and when he retires, I'm sure he has lots of time to make pork buns. And because it's like a hobby, I don't think he minds just making it. And plus, he can make some for himself.
大丈夫だよ。娘さんの婿養子が後を継いでくれるから。そうなの、アキト。
Hey, I'm just helping him. I have no relationship with the Saotomes, okay? It was true I was helping with the pork buns as a thank you for renting me the room so cheap, but it wasn't like the expected me to take over the store. At least I didn't think so.
そろそろバス来るよ。
But anyways, let's just get out of here. Okay, I'll hurry up and finish my pork bun. So Hikari bit into her half of the pork bun with gusto. And Sai finished here first and stood up to put her coat on. And when she did, something fell out of her pocket. So hey Saya, you dropped something.
やばい、バス来た。さや、急ごう。
Hey, hurry up, we're gonna be late.
待ってよ。
And before Sai can respond, Hikari grabs Sai out the door. So the bus was pulling into the roundabout as the two hurried out of the store. So those two can sure be noisy. And I went over and picked up this object that Saya had dropped. I thought it might have been her wallet, but it looks like... Wait. So the letter. Hey, there was no mistaking it. There was the bunny sticker. And I wonder if it's just the envelope, and the letter has been taken out already. But wait... So why does Sai have it? I was positive when I saw it fall out of Sai's coat. So this was definitely the same letter that Hikari had swiped from me. There was one thing that was different about it though. So the bunny sticker is torn. And it was then that the shop owner came out from the back. Okay, so break time. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll do it. I put on my air of nonchalance as I slipped the letter into my apron pocket and went on to my break. And now he gets to have break in his room. So when I got to my room upstairs, I took out the letter and stared at it. So, Hikari, you think a little squeeze of your breast is enough to make up for having to listen to Miharu-san's lecture me for an hour? And besides, I hadn't done it with that intention anyways. Now, if she let me really get in there and take my time, that would be a different story. But I wasn't about to demand that of her anyways. And I really think that Akito should stop thinking about this. So she labeled me as a pervert for the rest of my life, I was sure. Which meant... Wait. So I have to read this instead. So he should better read it before Hikari notices that it's missing and she is going to try again and take it back from him. So I opened the envelope, and inside was a single sheet of girly-looking stationery. It really looked like a stereotypical love letter. I never imagined Hikari as being the kind of girl to have such cute stationery before. So I saw it in anticipation. And for 4 years, I hadn't been able to read or even throw away this letter. Now here it was in my hands. And it was finally time to read it. My hands began to shake with nervousness. And for a brief instant, I hesitated. But Hikari would be leaving Japan in a few days. And there was a slim chance I could go forever without knowing. So, the truth of that day.
飽きちゃった。星とか見るのもう飽きちゃったんだ。だからもういいやって。ノートももう完成してるし、あとはさやと二人でやりなよ。じゃあね。
Okay, so now he starts to read the letter. And for a child, the handwriting certainly looked careful and neat. Okay, so here it begins. I know this is sudden and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I wanted to know how you feel. And this is why I'm writing this letter. I have liked you for a long time now. Please go out with me. I'll be waiting in our usual spot on the bridge tomorrow. I would really like to hear your answer. It was actually a real love letter. I had expected an explanation about the truth of that day, but it was completely unrelated. A complete different truth, one that I had never expected, was written there at the bottom of the letter. From Saya. So, I'm pretty sure this is a different letter, not the one that Hikari was able to get back from Akito. And I think Saya had this all along and was hoping to give it to Akito someday. Oh, so it was Saya that wrote the letter. So, interesting twist of events. But Hikari is the one who gave it to me. So Saya had written it and Hikari had given it to me. And there was nothing strange about this. It was completely normal for a best friend to deliver a love letter in your place. Which meant... So, does Saya really like me? I never expected anything like this. My mind went completely blank.
海の向こうへ旅立つ我らが同志、ほうき星ひかりさんの前途を祝して。
Okay, so that letter is the same one from before. And the reason Hikari mentioned that, well, I'm not interested in stars anymore. You and Sai can just carry on. I think it's because, well, I don't want to interfere with your affairs. Because Sai just wants you and her to be together, and I think I'm just being a bother, kind of interfering, so I might as well just step away, including not looking at stars anymore. So anyways, we're at the Mako Academy, and this is where, or most likely where the farewell party is being held.
乾杯!
So we all raised our juice-filled paper cups in toast.
いやいや、どうもどうも。ひかりさんがいなくなると寂しくなります。短い間だったけど、一緒に部活できて楽しかったよ。
南半球の星座が見られるなんて羨ましいです。
It's like, well, you're moving to Malaysia, and that's in the southern hemisphere, so you get to see the stars that we won't be able to see.
行かないでよ、ピカリン。
And even Corona is getting kind of sad that Hikari's moving.
ごめんね、コロナ。その名前で呼んだこと許してあげるから、私のことも許してよ。やだ、ちょっとしていいから行かないで。
Well, I kind of enjoyed calling you Hikari because I liked when you gave me a bash for that. So Corona threw her arms around Hikari, who hugged her back and gave her a reassuring pat on the head.
さやと仲良くするんだよ。さやをお姉ちゃんだと思って。やだ、絶対やだ。いいだ。こいつね。
Well, Corona, you're going to be really hard to take care of.
ひかりさん、星の一生に比べるとあまりにも一瞬でしたが、共に活動できて本当に楽しかったわ。白鳥さん。
Well, Shitori-san,
けれど、私たちはこれで終わりじゃない。
but it isn't the end though.
むつら星の会、海外支部としての活躍に期待しているわ。
And even though you're moving, you will be part of the Six Stars Club still, and you can always give us updates about what's going on over there.
任せてください。
Hikari gave a salute.
南十字星に南の空の星座たち。幻の鳳凰座流星群も見れちゃうかも。
Okay, and I might be able to see the, let's see, the Phonicids meteor shower around the Phoenix constellation.
写真頼むよ。この間星の撮り方教えてやったでしょ。
And don't leave us out, so give us pictures when you see it.
はい。撮れたら送るんで、むつら星のブログに載せてくださいね。どんどんちょうだい。サイトが賑やかになりますね。
So now with more activity, it looks like we'll have more updates on the blog.
むつら星の会の活動がよりグローバルになるわね。
That's kind of true. So you can't see the entire night sky from one place. That's true. And there are many stars that can only be seen from the northern hemisphere, and just as many that can only be seen from the southern hemisphere. And apparently the Southern Cross is just barely visible if you go to Okinawa, but it doesn't ever make it far above the horizon. And if you want to really see it, you'll have to go somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere. So I've heard that the real thing is actually pretty small, and you'll be disappointed if you expected something amazing. And today was Hikari's farewell party, but it was also a kind of post party for the Stargazing meet up. the other day. And all the Six Stars Club members were there, but there were a lot of guests from the meetup as well. And even Takeichi, who got his heart broken by Narue, came to help give Hikari a nice send-off.
飲み物足んないね。そうですね。コンビニで買ってきましょうか。
So should we buy more from that convenience store? The one that Akito works at?
あ、俺行きます。
Okay, I'll do that. Or I'll buy from another convenience store closer by. And until then, Takeichi had been looking a little uncomfortable. He jumped at this, however. And he didn't really have an interest in astronomy and couldn't keep up with the conversation. He probably just wanted an excuse to get some fresh air.
私行くよ。コンビニに用事あるし。
Okay, so I want to go as well. And I wonder if Takeichi's going to... Okay, I'll pass. I'll let her do it. Just to get away from her. So Takeichi stumbled over his words for a moment. So wait, I'm gonna go with her? That's gonna be quite... So he'd been trying to avoid Narue for the whole night.
じゃあ二人で行っといでよ。タケは荷物持ちってことで。
Well, I think it's good if you go because you can help her with the heavy lifting. Just like Chisa and Hiroki from the beginning when they had to go to the supermarket and buy the freshest groceries possible because that's when the ferry just came and it's unloading its fresh cargo or fresh food to everyone.
荷物持ちならうちの一連はいるけど。
いや、俺行きます。俺もコンビニに用事あるんで。
Well, I have to go as well.
じゃあよろしく。
Okay then, let's go. So I wonder, should I go too? I'm sure they're gonna hold him back.
あんたはいいの。
There you go. No, you'll stay here. Hikari glanced or grabbed my arm and stopped me from leaving. Hey, what are you doing?
空気読みなさい。
Wait, why? I thought that was exactly what I had been doing, and that's why I offered to go. And I whispered my protestation in Hikari's ear. Come on, Take's going to feel awkward with just the two of them.
そんなことないわよ。よく見てみなさい。タケの顔。
Well, I think otherwise. I can see the reactions that Take is giving to Narue, and he's kind of stumbling and being hesitant. So, I think it's a good chance just for, or like just the two of them go together. So I wonder if he's still here, or this is just a little flashback about what happened earlier. So Takeichi didn't look annoyed at all by the turn of events as he followed Narue out the door.
ジンノさん、確かにあの後輩くんと仲いいけど、付き合ってるとかじゃなさそうなんだよね。
Okay.
まだあれ、脈あるわよ。
So I think Takeichi mistaken. It's like, oh, I see Narue with another guy, so maybe she likes him better. And the fact that she goes to him for help. So I don't think I have a chance at getting closer to Narue. But Hikari's like, well, I don't see that they're really that close. And it's a good way for us to bring Takeichi closer to Narue. You think so? I wasn't completely convinced, but I also hadn't been paying attention closely, so I could be wrong.
それより、壁んとこでサヤが寂しそうにしてるよ。
Well, how about you pay more attention to Saya, because she's lonely. And we can now see why she's lonely. Oh yeah, you're right. So Saya doesn't do well at these kinds of events. she's pretty shy around strangers. So she got here a little late, and she's still not that close with the other members.
Saya!
Hello, Saya! Hikari dragged me by the arm over to where Saya is standing. Hey, Hikari, don't be rough.
飲んでる？うん、飲んでるよ、ウーロン茶。
I'm just having oolong tea.
ねえ、さや、アキトのことそろそろ許してやってよ。OL のふりしてた私も悪いんだからさ。
Okay. So Saya seemed to be studying my face.
それにさ、あんたたちが喧嘩したままじゃ心配で日本を離れられないよ。
Well, I don't think they're really fighting. It's more like Sai being jealous and she doesn't feel, or she feels that Akito rejected her for Hikari. It's like, well, Hikari looks better. She looks much more hotter than me, and I have nothing that I can use to gain a leverage over Hikari. And it kind of reminds me of what happened in Kokoro Function. So between Hijiri, Mina, and Tayo. So when Tayo got upset with Hijiri and used really perverted words to get her away from him, Hijiri was spying on Tayo, and she kept seeing him being close to the new transfer student, Mina, and she feels that maybe Tayo likes Mina better than me, and that's why he threw me out. And I'm kind of jealous. I wonder what she has that I don't.
だから、ね。
But then again, something happens and it brings them both together. And you can see more of that in my Let's Play videos for Kokoro Function.
でも、今回だけだよ、アキト君。
Right.
どうしたの、アキト？なんか、顔赤いよ。
It's nothing. Leave me alone. So after Akito read that letter, he has a different impression on Saya and Hikari, and he's trying his best not to make it obvious that he read the letter. So I casually shook off Hikari's grip on my arm and turned away from Saya. I couldn't look her in the eye right now. It was all because I read that letter. There you go. And I've liked you for a very long time. Please go out with me. I glanced towards Saya out of the corner of my eye. So I was like, well, then again, that letter was written many years ago when they were little kids, and I wonder if that's still true today. So Saya had her head tilted to the side and was looking back at me confused. Well, I couldn't take that cute stare of her and couldn't help but look away. And then... So maybe he doesn't really want me. He's trying his best to be nice and such, but he's still kind of on the fence about getting closer to me. So Saya sort of deflated. Oh, I'm sorry. Or like, Saya, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what's wrong, but I didn't mean to make you feel all upset.
アキト君、怒ってるの？
But I'm still upset because
ミルさんと仲良くしてたくらいで、私が冷たい態度取ったりしたかな。
and it seems that everything changed when you met the office lady, Komako.
呆れちゃったんでしょ？
Is it because I'm not as interesting, or like you're tired of having me around?
そ そうなの？
No, of course not.
じゃあなんでさやをいじめるか。
So why are you giving her all those glares? Because it kind of gives Sai the feeling that you don't want her and that you prefer someone else. Hey, I'm not teasing her.
だったらいつもみたいにさやにいい子いい子してあげなさい。
Well, I guess that since I was acting so weird around her, she thought that I didn't want to pat her on the head anymore or something. Well, come on, that's not, So the look in Saya's eyes as she looked at me was extremely sad. So I raised a trembling hand and gave Saya a pat on her head. And I wonder how Saya will respond. So her hair was even softer and silkier than I remember. And it looks like she appreciates that. It's like, well, I like it when you pat me on my head. Saya's face slowly softened and I could almost hear her mood change. And she reminded me a bit of Kotaro. So, are you better now?
いい？
So how is it?
満足した。
I feel better.
満足したって。
Hey, so are you trying to be her puppet, her translator,
さやの保護者？
bodyguard? Oh, come on, that's cute, coming from you. I always thought Saya was the one who looked after Hikari. More like hey, Hikari, you should be more girly-like. You are all crazy, and now that you're older, it looks pretty bad when you try to act like that tomboy person. And they get interrupted by Noriko, so her voice suddenly erupted from the other side of the room. Oh, it's just the food. This cheesecake tastes good. She was literally trembling in amazement. She was usually pretty quiet, but from time to time, her reactions could be a little over the top.
今日のパーティーのために北海道から取り寄せましたの。さあ、皆さんも召し上がれ。
And yes, it cost a lot, and Orihime bought it anyways. It's like, well, I imported from somewhere else, and it's from a specialty shop, so enjoy it while you can. So everyone started swarming around the amazingly delicious cheesecake. Well, apparently it had a fancy name like fromage or something like that. And yes, fromage is cheese in French.
私も。
Hey, you don't have to panic. I'm sure there's plenty for everyone. And I'm sure the way that Hikari eats the cheesecake is going to ruin its pristine image, its perfectness of the cheesecake. Well, anyways, we weren't going to eat it all before the guest of honor got to have some. Right? Sai gave me one last questioning glance before she hurried off after Hikari. So she wants some cheesecake as well. Well, I knew things were going to feel weird. And when Saya was standing in front of me, I couldn't help but think of the letter. No matter how much I tried to act naturally, there was no hiding it from a longtime friend. So it's times like this that childhood friends are a pain. I muttered under my breath while I went to get a piece of that cheesecake for myself.
それでは皆様、縁も竹縄ですが、そろそろお開きの時間ですわ。
So unfortunately, we're gonna have to close this place. So everyone lets out a disgruntled groan. Orihime nodded in satisfaction at everyone's response. It was almost like they had a unspoken agreement.
名残惜しいけれど、日は昇り、また沈みゆく。天体の運行を止めることは誰にもできません。最後に、光さんから別れの挨拶をいただきたいと思います。
So before we close the party, let's have Hikari give her parting words. So Hikari was stuffing leftover cheesecake into her face, as was her right, but froze at her name. She moved to the front with a plate and fork still in hand. So Hikari's messily eating up the cheesecake, and she's crunching so much, and it kind of makes her look untidy as she has to stand up and give her speech.
ビシッと決めてよね。
Okay, so it has to be good.
ほうき星さん、ファイト。ピカリン。ちょっと待ってね。
Wait. Let me finish my cheesecake before I make that parting speech.
ヒカリ、後にしなよ。
Come on, you're making everyone wait. Why don't you give that speech before you finish up the cheesecake? Saya looked a bit embarrassed as she stepped forward to take Hikari's plate and fork. So Saya's like, okay, well, I'll hold on to this, and you give your speech.
いやどうもどうも、ほうき星ひかりです。
And I think she's speaking while having food in her mouth.
知ってます。
Okay, we know that. So you are Hikari Hokiboshi. Honoka poked back at Hikari's little joke, earning a little chuckle from everyone. So Hikari scratched her head, embarrassed to be up in front of everyone. So how should I put the speech?
私は子供の頃に天体観測の楽しさを知って、けどそれからいろいろあって、しばらくあまり星を見てませんでした。そんな私がひょんなことからむつら星の会と出会い、おかげでまた星を見ることができました。
Okay.
いやー、やっぱいいですね、星。
So Orihime was nodding her head enthusiastically, a big smile on her face.
一人で見る星はちょっと寂しいけれど、みんなで見る星は賑やかで楽しかった。私は遠く南の国へ行ってしまいますが、でも心はこの星の中に置いていきます。あっちに行っても一緒に空を見上げましょう。
So, we can still look at the stars together. Hikari did a couple mock bows as everyone applauded her speech.
また帰ってくるんだよね。そのつもりだよ。
So hopefully, I'll be able to come back soon.
お待ちしてますね。それまでむつら星の会を我々で守っていきますから。
And we'll make sure this club is ready for your return.
ひかりさんたちはむつら星の未来を担っていく次の世代、期待してるわ。
But for Orihime, it's like, well, I'm going to graduate. I'm going to move on. And hopefully, you people here will make the club ready for Hikari to return.
はい。
And by the time Hikari gets back, Orihime will have graduated and moved on. There you go. So Narue, Noriko, and Keisuke were second-year students, so they'll have retired from the club as well. Oh, okay, so when they're 30 years, it's going to be like, well, it's time to move on from school, time to apply for colleges, time to look at what I'm going to do next. And because of that, they won't have time to focus on the Six Stars Club. Okay. So the only ones left at the current Six Stars Club would be the current first year, like Honoka, Saya, and myself. It was a bit sad to consider, but she would meet, or she will most certainly add something to the group again when she comes back. And that was kind of person she was.
みんな本当にありがとう。
And with one final magnificent applause, the farewell party comes to a close.
それじゃあほうき星さん、向こうに行っても元気でね。
Well, I'm pretty sure even if the Six Stars Club members are going to move on, they're pretty much close to their graduation years. The intent was that this club was going to gather or encourage new people to be in astronomy and get more signups. So by the time these people move on, there'll be future generation of astronomers to take over this club and continue it, just like before.
のりちゃん先輩も元気でね。
So everyone stopped to say a few last words or shake Hikari's hand as they headed home.
楽しかった。送別会ってしんみりしてて苦手だったけど、今日のは全然そんなことなかったね。
Well, they're only boring when the person getting the send-off is boring, you know.
なーにょー。
So wait, so you're saying that I'm boring? Hikari was still in high spirits from the party and lunged to grab me, but I jumped out of the way and ran off.
素早いやつ。
Well, get back here. So what's the matter? All the cake slowing you down? So you ate so much cheesecake and it's making you fat, and now it's holding you back from being able to go after me.
女の子になんてこと言うの？デリカシーなさすぎでしょ。かな。
Well, then again, Hikari doesn't really have good manners either, because she was wolfing down the cheesecake like crazy. And it's like, hey, that's not a proper attitude for a lady. So Hikari let out a burst of speed as she chased after me. And I managed to get away though.
転ぶよ。
Hey, come on, don't be like little kids, you're gonna fall over. So I just watched the scene with a grin on her face.
捕まえた。
Okay, I got you. Well, I don't think so. I just barely slipped past Hikari's grasp and ran behind Saya to use it as a shield. So I'm pretty sure there's no way you'll hurt Saya, so how about this?
おりゃー。
So Hikari ended up running straight into Saya, wrapping her arms around her.
さやいい匂い。ほんのり甘い香りがする。
And that changes Hikari's opinion.
やだ、匂い嗅がないで。
So Saya pushed Hikari away.
ええやないか、ええやないか。
Hikari tried to go in for another sniff, but Saya threw out her hands to keep her away. Come on, don't smell me. That's kind of weird.
さやたんかわゆいの。こんなかわゆい子を日本に残していくなんてちょっと心配だな。
I'm jealous. I won't have Saya when I move. Hikari said this in a tone that made it sound a little rehearsed.
いっそあんたたち二人が付き合ってくれれば安心なんだけど。ちょっと
Hey, Hikari, don't reveal that. Come on, knock it off.
秋人くん。
Come on, you shouldn't just blurt out whatever comes to mind without thinking about it first.
でもなんでおばちゃん区長？
Come on, geez. You should really work on that. I could feel my face getting hot, so I had to turn away as I said this. Hikari and Saya both looked at me like I was acting strangely. Well, this is bad. I feel like I'm revealing more than I wanted to. And he's kind of giving hints that he read that letter that Hikari does not want Akito to read. Well, I'll just wait here and go home with Take and the others.
なんでよ。
Wait, what's wrong? I just figured you two still have some things you wanted to talk about alone.
朝のうちに大体済ませたよ。
Well, that's not true. And I'm sure Sai really wants to go home with Akito. Come on, so what is taking Take and the others so long? Even I could tell that I wasn't fooling anyone with my terrible acting. I knew that was the case, but I was doing the best I could, considering the pressure I was under.
行こう、光。
So, in a sense, he made Saya a little bit upset, saying, well, I wanted to go home with Akito together, and if he's gonna wait for other people, well, it kind of feels like we're apart.
でも、
So Saya grabbed her arm and led her away from me.
じゃあね、また連絡するから。またね、バイバイ。
Okay, well, good night then. Good night, and be careful on your way home. I stayed behind to wait for Takeichi as they got on a bus to head home. Well, I feel so uncool right now. And when they were out of sight, I let out another quiet sigh. And ever since I read that letter, I have been unable to control my feelings. I hadn't had enough time to prepare myself before seeing Hikari and Saya again at the party, and this was the result. Well, I'll have to tell Hikari the truth later. And I'm pretty sure it's like, well, I'm going to have all this pressure, all this tension build up, and the only way to relieve it is to just basically reveal the truth to them. I decided to wait until I knew the two of them were no longer together before sending a message. And after thinking it was over, I started wondering what was taking Takeichi so long. Hikari told him to stay behind and help Narue and the others clean up after the party. He complained, but he had done what she said in the end. Well, I guess I'll go lend a hand as well. Well, I need something to do to take my mind off the situation at hand anyways, so I made my way back inside. Hello, welcome.
読んじゃったってどういうことよ。
Okay, so Hikari somehow found out that Akito read the letter. So, too angry to wait for the automatic door, Hikari burst into the store. Hey, so did you come back on purpose?
これが戻らずにいられますかっての。どういうことか説明してもらおうじゃないの。
So what happened? Wait, calm down. We're in public. And you look bad to the other customers. So I brought Hikari over to the cafe space and sat her down. And she was like an angry dog. So I think what happened was that Akito texted Hikari later, and when Hikari saw the text, she got all enraged and she made a quick dash back to the store to confront Akito. So she was even panting like one. Come on, open up.
あー
I put some chocolate into her mouth. Okay, this will help you. So once Hikari has calmed down, I pulled out the love letter from my pocket and explained how I had picked it up. So I just picked it up after Sai dropped it.
それであんた、今日ずっとさやに対する態度が変だったんだ。
And that's why you were having trouble getting back to Saya, even after I was kind of pushing it along. So as Hikari swallowed the information along with the chocolate, she looked at me with hateful eyes. Come on, why didn't you tell me when you gave it to me? I thought you wrote it the whole time.
だって読めばわかるじゃん、そんなの。読まないなんて思わないでしょ、普通。
So I hate hearing that, but as for this letter, not reading had been a perfectly reasonable choice. So Hikari and I had basically gone our separate ways at that point. So why did you give this to me, Hikari, then?
ずっと相談に乗ってあげてたのよ、さやの。それであの子、自分じゃ渡せないって言うから。
Since I really wanted to talk to you about this, but she was nervous and couldn't do it. Listening to her, Hikari looked at me as if to say, "You're really asking that."
6年の2学期よ。さやが急に私に聞いてきたの。アキトのことどう思ってるのかって。最初は意味わかんなくて、バカだなって思ってるよって答えたんだけど、そういうんじゃないって言われて。好きかどうかって聞かれたの。
So I was like, well, I feel that I'm gonna fight with you for Akito, and I'm kind of uncomfortable because I'm pretty sure I'm too shy for this and I'll easily lose to you, Hikari. What a shock. And?
好きだよって答えた。じゃなきゃ遊ばないよって言ったら、それも違うって言うんだよね。それでまあ、なんだ、さやの気持ちを聞いたわけよ、私は。でも私、そういうのよくわかんないし、とりあえず、さやとアキトが仲良くなれるよう、アシストしてみたのよ。
Okay. So like you did with Take today? So her help didn't seem necessary, but Takeichi didn't seem to mind that much. And he looked happy going home, telling me he was going shopping with Narue. And it wasn't so bad that she set up that chance for Takeichi, but... So, by the way, we are not talking about Take. So you were assisting Saya or whatever?
してたよ。でもあんた全然気づかないんだもん。
So even being told this, I had no recollection. For example,
ジュース回し飲みした時とか。
so what about that time when you drank from the same cup?
飲む？ありがとう。アキトも飲みなよ。
So want some as well? Drinks? Yeah, thank you.
いや
Hehehehe.
やーいやーい。さやとアキトが関節キス。
Come on, knock it off.
関節キスしたから、あんたたちもう夫婦だね。
Hey, then you are too, Hikari. This is your drink.
あ、
Okay, so Akito was able to get back at Hikari.
じゃあ、私たち3人で夫婦？
Hey, so was that my fault somehow?
あれおかしいな。私の記憶では今の今までゴール前にドンピシャのクロスボールを上げたことになってたんだけど。
Oh well.
待って、まだだから。あの頃はまだ慣れてなかっただけで。他にもあるよ。いいさや。アキトが来たら落ちそうになってるふりするんだよ。
Okay, so act like you're falling, okay? And I'm pretty sure we've seen this in many video games where the girl, she is in distress, she needs help, and the hero comes and saves her. Just like, well, I'm pretty sure the best example would be the Mario games, where Princess Peach gets kidnapped by Bowser, and it's up to Mario or Luigi to save her. But anyways, I'm going to stop here for this episode. It's getting quite long, and we can see how different things come together and what Hikari really meant when she said that I'm not interested in looking at stars anymore. You and Sai carry on. And it's because, well, I see that Sai likes Akito, and even though I like Akito as well, I can't really get together, and I may end up hurting Saya more. So I'll just bring them close together, and I'll just try to step out of it. And anyways, that time, Hikari was already planning on moving anyways. So I wonder how it's going to work when I do end up on the Hikari route at the end of this Divergence phase. Because it is kind of hard for Hikari to get with Akito from how I see it here. So, without further talking, I'll just leave the rest to next episode.